Well, you guys get on this shit early. Before I go too further, I want to make sure you guys can hear me. If you can hear me, we'll just get it cracking. Talk some shit. Again, guys. Okay, perfect. Thank you, Isaac. That's the rundown. As long as you guys can hear me, we'll just start. Go ahead on the live stream. So what I want to talk about today is stuff that happened last week. What happened last week? Well, Lund Racing recaptured the 6R80 record in the Blue Goose. The 2015 S550 ran a 767 at 183 mile an hour. Some badass shit. So I'm going to send you guys a link here in the chat so you guys can check it out. For those of you that missed it, if you missed it and you don't know what the hell's going on, then you guys must be living under a rock. But there's the Facebook link to the video of the car running 767 with a 183 mile an hour, which it's making, I don't know, 1,600 rear wheel horsepower. Car weighs over 3,600 pounds. That day conditions weren't optimal. That day was like 90 degrees. The grass, the track was a little on the greasy side, but John Jr., John Sr., Dakota, all the guys that were involved in the whole day made sure I got down the track. It only cut like a low 1,260 foot on that pass, but it has cut a 118 before. So I'm sure once the track conditions become a little more favorable and then we can go ahead and send it on the 60 foot, we should be should be able to go from there. Then the other thing that happened last weekend was Brian Devilbliss ended up running an 869 on his Edelbrock supercharged 2018 Mustang using basically a second gear leave. It's got a Circle D converter, Edelbrock ported blower by Kong, Greg Kayasayan, Kong Port out of Pennsylvania. He's known for doing mostly ZR1 and CTSV supercharger porting, but he ended up grabbing an Edelbrock unit, working his magic, and making that thing straight up get it. So real happy that it's now the fastest and quickest, I believe, 2018 and up supercharged. I know we're going to go micro record. We're going to go supercharged, turbocharged. It's not the quickest 18 overall. The quickest 18 overall belongs to Jesus Fajardo and Aldo Weld's equipped 18 Mustang built by Midnight Performance down there in Houston. I think he went 839 not too long ago. So hopefully he's probably going to be the first one that goes sevens out of anybody here. The first one that's, I think, going to go 790 in an 18 plus, 799 is going to be Jesus Fajardo. Mark my words. They're just so close, and Lund pretty much has the tune figured out. They just got to get to the track on a good day, favorable day, cut a 60, and I think the 7-second time slip should be there. So again, last week, Lund Racing recaptures the overall, not just like the 15 up, not the IRS, no, the overall 6R80 record. And I know a lot of you guys are going to say, well, is it really a 6R80 because it has a 4R200 hub? Well, is a T56 still a T56 if you remove 6 and 5th? If you faceplate a T56, remove 2 gears, is it still a T56? Yeah, because it's the case. That's the name of the case. Who cares of what's going on inside? And last time I checked, no one goes 6 gears down the track in a 6R80. That's just fucking stupid for people that say that bullshit. So we're going to talk a little shit today. I had a couple of guys hit me up on Instagram wanting to talk about torque converters. They wanted to talk about, they want to talk about a little bit about K members as to what's available. Where did I get my AA K member? Things of that nature. So what I'll do is I'll talk about the subject that a lot of you guys are referencing real quick is the sauce. Right? Some guys like, yo, my man, you got some gray hairs. You can't be saying the sauce. Motherfucker, I don't say the sauce. That's what you guys say. Basically, what I was referencing in that last video about the sauce is basically the end user's ability or willingness to go as far as he can to max out his combo. Names that come to mind are naturally aspirated Robert Ball. Robert Ball is one of those guys that, runs a great number. He actually turns his car down for True Street so that he can average 11.0. But max effort, that car is a 1030, 1040 car in good weather all day. And if you just take a look at his engine bay, right then and there, you go, oh my God, what the hell is he doing? The guy has a Ford Racing Cold Air with like some custom, airbox situation going on with a, you know, Venturi, or what do you call it? An air, I don't know what you call it, but what are those things that you put in front of turbos? Turbo guys, those little, I forget what, like a bell mouth shaped insert. He has that going on. And again, he doesn't get a crazy tune. I think he basically gets a tune that's super refined in terms of timing, making sure the timing's commensurate. Hell, some people just say, dude, shut off my knock sensors. I'm on the 85. I don't give a shit about knock. And that's when we tell you to disclaim that, so that in case your shit blows up, it ain't on us. So that's basically what the sauce is. Now, Robert Ball comes to mind as someone who is max effort NA. Let's now talk about max effort boosted. Well, that's the guys at Midnight Performance, period. They're willing to do whatever. I think they coined the phrase, the sauce. I think they're willing to do whatever it takes to get that car down the track quick, fast, no fucking around. If it blows up, it blows up. Who gives a shit? They're those types of guys that obviously we love. We love people like that because they make us look good. They go fast. You know, they get noticed, they get rep, and it all literally works out to everyone's benefit. So that's what really the sauce is. Your willingness to not give two shits about the health of your car and engine, and you're willing to max out the combo regardless of whatever is going on. Today, I had a gentleman where I was tuning him on nitrous, and I'm comfortable going up to about 150 shot, no problem. I'm like, okay, we'll do 150 shot, you know, make sure the spark's good. Here you go. Send me a log back. He sends me the log back. It looks super clean. Then he says, hey, I want to spray 200. So it's like, your velocity stack. Thank you, Giovanni. So he ended up saying, I want to go get a 200 shot. Now, this is a plate system behind the throttle body, and I'm not a big fan of that because when the nitrous is sprayed into the manifold, it can puddle in certain areas, and I'm not a big fan of what can happen. But I said, if you want to party, you can disclaim to the cows come home and I'll do whatever you want. And he said, yeah, I don't care if we freaking chuck a rod. I want to get a 200 shot in this thing. So he's definitely getting after it. That gave me the okay to say, here you go. I tweaked the tune a little bit, and I'm hoping he gets me a log by tomorrow with the engine still intact. But we'll see. He's going to do a 175. Then he's going to do a 200 shot if it looks good. Take it to the track. It's probably going to be a 9-second 2018 Mustang on nitrous without a doubt, like super easy. So hopefully that all works out to his favor and the car stays together and the tune looks good and the knock sensors don't come into play. So that's my hope. So I'm going to go through the questions here, if there are any, or just kind of comments, and see what's going on with you guys. I already referenced the 6R80 Blue Goose run, and I already referenced Brian Devil Bliss. And by the way, Brian Devil Bliss's car was built by Evolution Performance out of Pennsylvania. Can't forget to mention that. Lewis, guy's name's Lewis, asks, hey Alex, does Power by the Hour sell a complete 6R80 swap kit? Lewis, yes. So Power by the Hour has pretty much everything you need to get a 6R80, either Gen 1 or Gen 2 in your vehicle. If you have a Gen 1 motor, they can sell you a PBH control pack, Gen 1, with a computer, transmission, harness, cross member, a kit. I'm saying they deliver everything to your house, and they'll work with you to hook it up and make sure that everything goes together great for Gen 1. For Gen 2, they also can do that because they can get a Ford Racing Gen 2 automatic control pack if you have a Gen 2 motor, whether it be a F-150 Gen 2 motor or a Mustang Gen 2 motor. And they'll go ahead and take care of you that way. So they absolutely have a 6R80 swap kit for your vehicle. Now, if you have an 11 to 14 Mustang, trust me on this shit, guys. If you got an 11 to 14 Mustang, it's going to be expensive, right? Get ready to drop $6,000 plus on a swap. That's a lot of money. So a lot of you guys that still owe on Gen 1s, which would blow my mind, would probably be better off trading it in on an already, automatic 6R80 equipped Mustang. If you're doing it on Gen 2, same thing. If you have a manual Gen 2 car and you're like, I want to swap a 6R80 in it, I'm telling you, you're going to, in terms of cash out of pocket, right? What's it going to cost cash out of pocket to swap a 6R80 into the car? It's going to cost like $6,000. Oh, no, I'm going to get a transmission from LKQ. And okay, right. And then you're going to have nothing but trouble. It still has to get reprogrammed. The ABS has to get reprogrammed. You need a new harness, a new body harness, engine harness with body harness, drive shaft, bunch of shit. So if I were you, I would look into trading in the car to an already 6RAD equipped Mustang and going from there. But to answer your question, Power by the Hour does have a Gen 1 6RAD control pack for sale. Sims asks, okay, I'm going to finally ask, what is YDBT? So when I was starting my silliness, I thought that everyone was like, you know, there was a bunch of like YOLO douchebags out there, basically kids with flat brim hats and like metal placards on the front of the hat. And I was like, these guys look like YOLO douchebags. And then YOLO douchebag wanted to become a tuner. So YOLO douchebag tuning, YDBT. Thank you, Luke G. Luke G is an old school fan, so he gets it. Okay, is there an efficient way of tuning Spark for all 26 map points? Joey Harrison. Yeah, there is, but you got to understand the 26 map points also reference a bunch of other things. It's not just like, oh, let me go to Spark and make them, you know, this and that, and then just, you know, make it one event and then be done with it. There's a lot to be had when it comes to tuning a Coyote car, and it's not just as simple as just opening the file and whatever's editable, have a ball. You can get it close, you can get it running really well, but at the end of the day, there is a more efficient way of doing it, and some people practice it, some others don't. Others map all 26 points along with torque tables, you know, do it the quote unquote hard way. There's no right or wrong way of doing it. It's just different methods, in my opinion. High Seas Paul asks, what's the name of that guy's Instagram that you've been wearing? Save the manual shirt. I fucked up so bad. I totally forgot his name. We haven't been in contact, and I feel terrible about it. But hopefully by wearing that shirt and you guys maybe Googling it or looking it up on Instagram, maybe that'll help. But I fucked that one up. I should have, you know, kept the guy's name and shouted him out and all this stuff, and I'm really bad at that. I'm really bad at that. Ryan Rodriguez asks, Alex, Brandon reviewed my logs, and yeah, my IATs were super high. Got away from cold weather. So Ryan, do you have a GT500? Or do you have an air-to-air, you know, like a Vortec or something, pulley to the fucking moon, and it's making all the boost on the planet, and you're seeing high IAT? You got to understand, guys, more boost, more heat, unless you have an ice tank or you have, you know, you live somewhere where it's pretty cold all the time, you're going to have higher IAT in the summer. The car is not going to perform the same. Just because you pulley down doesn't necessarily mean you're going to make more power. I had a gentleman today with a GT350 pulley down, and he thought he was going to make 800. And I'm like, dude, your car's already saying 22 degrees of timing, but you need more boost, but I don't think you have the octane to support it. So it was like a back and forth. A lot of people say, well, let me just pulley down. You know what I've noticed a lot is GT500 owners are like, oh, can I get the Gen 3? No, the Gen 3R? And I'm like, well, what are you going to do with the car? Oh, it's just going to be on pump gas and, you know, just go get ice cream and, you know, suck at driving and miss second. So why do you need a Gen 3R for that? Keep to the stock Trinity. The stock Trinity blower is good and can make as much power as your motor can handle. Understand that the stock Trinity blower on 1314 GT500s with the 85, big throttle body, big cold air, big injectors, can make enough to blow your shit up. Like a 2-4-10% combo on the 85 or 15%, if you can fit it, will blow your shit up. So be careful what you ask for. Just because you get a Gen 3R doesn't necessarily mean that you're gonna make more power and spin the rotor slower and have lower IETs automatically. I had a guy, I forget his name, but he's active on the forums. He said, Alex, you know, I bought a Gen 3 and it makes a ton up top, but I could swear my Gen 2R had way more nut. Actually, his Trinity blower had way more nut down low than the Gen 3R. And I agreed with him. I said, you know why? Because it's a little guy, it spins quicker, you gotta spin the rotors quicker, and you get that torque, that initial butt dyno, bam, out of the hole type situation. Whereas a Gen 3, you're spinning the rotor slower, so you're not gonna feel that instant torque you did with the 2-4 10% combo than when you do with a 3.0 upper and a stock lower on a Gen 3. Real simple. All right, people are paying, so might as well get to them first. If I click the $10, will it take me there? No, it won't take me there. Oh, warning. Ruslan Z asks, warning, stupid question. I have a Paxton 2200 at 7.5 PSI, my 14 GT. I'm almost completed, but I still have 47-pound injectors with a 400 fuel pump. How much power can I get out of 47s? I'll get ID 1000s in a few. So Ruslan, it's more about RPM, right? You could like, okay, I'll give you an example. Roush RS3s, 2015 to 2017 Roush RS3s, which are supercharged, and phase 2 ones are 80 millimeter pulley, 47 pound injectors, and a booster pump. Those are good for about 620 rear wheel horsepower at about 7,000 RPMs. They limit the RPM. That's the issue. You can make a decent amount of horsepower, but you're going to run out of injector eventually at a certain RPM. And with a Paxton supercharger at 7.5 PSI, you might be okay, but we might have to limit your RPM based on that. We don't want to do that, because what's going to happen is you're going to go to a dyno, you're going to go wide open throttle, and you're going to say this thing is super lean up top. Oh my God, it's dangerous. And you're going to hit us up on Facebook and say we suck. So if I were you, if you're okay with a limited RPM, meaning like a 6,800, 7,000 RPM tune on 47s and pump gas, you got to understand you're going to be limited in many ways. Or just get that ID 1000 and we can zing that guy up to 7,500 RPM, where centrifugals make a ton of power, and not limit yourself. In my opinion, wait, get the ID 1000s, and you should be good to go. Okay, so Root Beer asks some questions. I'm looking for 625 rear wheel horsepower for my 17 GT VMP Gen 2R or Gen 3. Which pulley, return style or booster pump? A VMP Gen 2R can make 850 rear wheel horsepower plus, depending on how you pulley it. You do not need a Gen 3. Plain and simple, you don't need a Gen 3. I prefer a Gen 2R or a 2300 rotor pack, whether it be a Trinity, a Gen 2R, or a Gen 2, because at that power level, you're already stressing the internals of your engine unless you go build motor. In my opinion, Gen 3 in any application is only good for when you build your motor or you're planning to make close to 1,000 rear wheel horsepower. Anything under 1,000 rear wheel horsepower, a Gen 2 is fine. A Gen 2R is fine. It's enough power to blow your shit up. Now for 625 wheel, I would get D-Torque 95, ID 1000, or FIC 1000H, or 1050Xs from Injector Dynamics, and get a booster pump from VMP, JMS, or Vortec. And on pump gas with a 79 millimeter pulley, you probably can make 640, 650 wheel on good quality 93 octane. So 79 millimeter upper, stock lower, VMP Gen 2R, 1000cc injectors and a booster pump on pump gas, you should be able to make your power goals right then and there. I'm going to get some of the questions that before the paint questions, because they're actually really close. Poor Boy 313, OG fan. Alex, would you trade all of your cars for 2020? No, no way. No way. I love my Fairmont. I love my 18. I love my 18. My 18 with a Vortex supercharger, an E85 fuel system, I could make 800, no problem. Is it going to be close to the 2020 GT500? No. The GT500 with a dual clutch trans on paper seems to be pretty badass. It supposedly runs a 10-something quarter mile. I think that's stout. But at the end of the day, I won't give up all of my cars for one GT500. That's something other YouTubers would do just to get that short, fame. But that long sustainable stuff is really on Gen 1, Gen 2, and Gen 3. And old school Coyote swaps, which I have all three. Actually, I don't have a Gen 1, but I have a Gen 2, Gen 3, and a Coyote swap. So I think I'm covering all bases there. Okay. John Lund. Good evening, Alex. So the boss man is in the house. So if you guys have any questions, I'm sure John Lund Sr. is here to help. And if you guys want to talk some shit and confuse the shit out of each other, have at it. But he's here to answer questions if you need them. Peyton Pruitt just gave me money for no reason. I appreciate that, brother. Kasim Mesik, $5, said, hey, Alex, installing a Whipple Gen 3 on my 16 GT E85 1050X. I do not have any sort of tune. The Lunt N-Gage. Can you guys do a startup tune? So any supercharged Coyote that plans to be on E85 absolutely has to have a return style fuel system. Now, maybe in the future, a fuel system will become available where you can get a single 465 and a booster pump. But right now, as of right now, what we support is a return style fuel system on a boosted car, Kasim. So Kasim, if you have a return style fuel system, we can tune you. We can get a Lund Engage on lundracing.com, order a full remote session with the E85 upcharge, and we'll get you going. If you do not have a fuel system, you go to 4 Innovations and you buy a level 2 kit at minimum, which is 2 340s, I believe. Don't quote me, or 255s. I forget. I'm terrible at these things, but they have a dual pump hat with an FC2 controller, which means you can control the 2 pumps with this great little mechanism. You can run it on a hop switch or run 2 continuous, but that's what we support. A boosted application on E85 absolutely has to have a 1000cc injector and a return style fuel system. Don Self. Alex, is black soot normal on inside tailpipes, only visible after hard pulls, 93 pump gas boosted 9 pounds? So Don, a lot of guys out there are, okay, my previous employer, you know, if you have catalytic converters, you got to keep the cats cool. So the way you keep the cats cool is you enable cat over temp protection, which literally runs the car rich to the point of like 0.75 lambda. And if you hit like stage 3 or some shit, it'll be like 0.72, which is like 10 to 5 AFR, maybe a little richer. So depending on the quality of 93 and the junk additives that are in it, you might get some soot on the tailpipe. You know what doesn't cause any soot on any tailpipe? E85. Triple threat outdoors. 12 GT500 or 15 RS3? 15 RS3. It's already supercharged. It's got a badass little blower on top. It outhandles the GT500. It out-torques the GT500 because that GT500 is still going to need a blower upgrade. Now, if you were to say resale, notoriety, badassery, a 12 GT500 with a Trinity upgrade is pretty freaking badass. And it has a TR6060 transmission. If you have a performance pack version, you have 373s, and that TR6060 comes with a 297 first. That's why 11 to 12 GT500 are by far my favorite. Bossman, 2012 Boss. Kind of Gen 3 on a rotor engine and make 1000 horsepower and not be an issue? Kind of Gen 3? Did you mean can a Gen 3 go on a Roadrunner engine and make 1000 horsepower and not be an issue? No, it's going to be an issue. Treat a Roadrunner engine like a Gen 2 Mustang engine. That's how I treat them. I'm comfortable at 800 wheel on a Mustang engine. I'm not comfortable at 1000 wheel on any Mustang engine or a Roadrunner, like at all. Kyron Kendrick. Oh shit! Someone paid and bumped you. Let me find you. Come on, where are you? Oh, Kyron Kendrick. Thoughts on methanol, naturally aspirated, and also 17-inch wheel tire size. So if you're going to be on a 17-inch tire, you're going to be drag racing. I always prefer the 305, 45, 17. If you're going to be on a 19-inch tire, like a Bobo brand, just to get to the track type stuff, you can get away with like a 275, 40, 19. And I think that'll be a nice size on a 19-inch, but on a 17-inch, I like a 305, 45, 17. The Chech, Mr. FOS is here, which is Brandon De Arita with his shitty diet, literally his shitty diet. He says, I see Senior is here, and Senior gave me $20. Thank you very much. I appreciate it. Now the guys are going to say, oh, how come you don't give me $20? Daily Driven Mustang says, Andrew from LED All the Things made those Save the Manual shirts at one point, if that's who you got it from. That's the guy. Andrew from LED All the Things. Go on Instagram. I'm sure type in LED All the Things. Andrew, that's the guy you get the shirts from. He gave me the Make America Fast Again shirt and the Save the Manual shirt. Parker 89 173. Oh, Parker, go. Is it Go Lightly or Goth Golightly? I don't know. Your last name has been like a topic of debate forever. If it's Parker from Houston, the guy that works in Louisiana, off in the boats, your Parker. He has a Celine, a Coyote Swap Celine. Good guy. Met him in Houston. If that's who it is. PR Chico 1010 says, do you make your coquito with white rum or 151? I don't drink. And I don't do any Puerto Rican shit like that. The only Puerto Rican shit I do is tostones. That's it. I don't do any other shit. I don't put a Puerto Rican flag on the hood of my car and celebrate Puerto Rican Day, parades. I don't do any of that shit. I don't drink coquito. I don't drink any of that. I don't listen to reggaeton. I don't do none of that bullshit. I'm like as American as it get. I just happen to have brown skin. John Christopher Kazeel says, John, are you giving out gift cards? Dean Simmons, any rumors on what the next gen Mustang will have? Not yet. I know that I heard from a contact at Roush that doesn't work anymore back in the day that it will be like super locked down. I guess 2020 and 2021, shit's going to be super locked down. But as with everything, if there's a fence, we'll jump it, go under it. We'll get it. It's not a big deal. Eric Batchelor says, saw a Coyote swap with a Roush blower Fairmont with a 2003 Crown Vic engine mounts and frame rails. Engine fitment was perfect. Lots of room in the engine bay. So the Crown Vic came with a modular. So if you can get a Crown Vic front end into anything, it just goes boop and it's perfect. F100s have the very popular swap for F100. Old F100s is a Crown Vic front end. Put that sucker in there and any modular engine fits in there with plenty of room to spare. Wow, 408 people watching already. Thank you very much. I appreciate that. Justin Wilson, YOLO, 14 GT500, stock 331 gearing. Would you run first or second for a 40 roll at an event like Streetcar Takeover? I got a 28-inch Mickey Thompson drag radial, a VMP 2.4 upper, VMP 267 ice tank, VMP 267 and ice tank, E85, 1050X, PMS 120, John Jr., the boss behind the tuning. And that's right, that the boss is behind the tuning on that one. So, oh gosh, first you can go 60 in first gear, I think, on a because first gear on 13 to 14 GT500s is 266. So I believe you can go 60 mile an hour. But the problem is going to be you're so close to your shift point that when you stab it, it's going to just spin the tire and you got to grab a gear and it's going to spin. You have enough torque to make up for it. But honestly, if you're going to do a lot of roll race events, honestly, I would get a 373 and start in second. Because you can go third and then be well into fourth at the end of the track. And I think that's more beneficial at the end of the day. But if you're on the stock 331, you're kind of fucked. You either have to be low in second gear or high in first gear or somewhere in between. And that 40 roll is going to kill you. I suggest 373s to get you over the hump. Alan Eduardo says, I have a Lund E85 tune on my 17 Auto Paxton, and I'm having idling issues in a P300 code. Multiple misfires. Junior checked it out, said it all looks fine. What could it be? 9 times out of 10, that is usually maybe you didn't do a crank relearn because of a misfire code. You got to understand, P300 is like random misfire code. If it says 301, it's cylinder 1. If it says 302, it's cylinder 2, all the way to 8. But a PO300, do you have a MST two-step in the car? Oh, yeah, I do. Well, those are known to go bad, especially on later generation coil packs. So early 15 had the same coil packs as 11 to 14. Somewhere around mid 15 or early 16, they changed to the newer style connector and newer different coils, and it has a different harness. So at the end of the day, you could have a couple of things going on. You could have a watt box causing an issue. You could just have to do a simple crank relearn. You could have a bad plug, because we can't see a bad plug in a log. You just feel a hesitation. You know what I mean? And then it'll throw a misfire code. So if you have an MSD, a watt box, a bad plug, or a bad coil, or you need to do a crank relearn, could be the causes of a PO300 code. Someone said, Brian Burkett, Terminator engine better than a Coyote engine? Stop smoking crack. Because I don't know any stock, I'm saying stock cam, stock everything, Terminator engines making 1,000. Show me one. Show me one. Shit'll chuck a rod in a heartbeat. Eduardo Perez says, I am tuned by another big Coyote tuner. My car's an 18, 10 or 80. I've been thinking of switching to Lund. What makes your tunes outperform the competition? How I get a tune from you. You get a tune from us by going to support@lundracing.com and paying us to tune your car. I think what gives us the leg up on everyone else is our customer service and our return time and our turnaround time. We get you a tune pretty quickly. We have great tuners. We have a great system, and it's only going to get better in the next couple of months. We're going to come up with some badass shit that make life a lot easier. Turnaround time will be quicker. So I think it's the way Senior and Junior structured the company, with the files, with the vetting of the tunes, the process. Basically it's Junior at the top, makes the tunes, vet the tunes, you know, and anything exotic goes to him, and we get everything else. But we do a lot of turbo applications, everything like that. But if there's a twin turbo GT500 07 with a 4R200, and then I think Junior tends to get those because they're a little more labor intensive. But I think the way the tunes are structured and made are pretty straightforward, because what you get is a proven tune. If you have a Paxton car, if you have a whatever, you get such a proven tune that it's not even funny. A lot of you guys call it a bass tune, a bass file. It's not really a bass when it runs badass out of the box. Matthew Griffs. Should I go with the Gen 2 or Gen 3 short block to swap into 2011? Gen 2. Gen 2. I answered that really easy. Peyton Lucas says, on a Coyote swap, is a 450 liter per hour pump enough with boost? Yes. Yes. About 10 PSI. I wouldn't think you can do E85 with it, honestly. Trey Evans Dumoran says, Alex or Joe? Oh, God damn it. Someone paid and kicked you, bro. I'm sorry. Shit. I hate that. Man. No, I can't find him. Shit. Sorry, brother. Hey, someone paid and it kicked you out the chat. Apologize. Isaac Campbell says, you said some 14 GTs have Gen 2. How do I know if my 14 came with a Gen 2 motor or not? Look at the cylinder head. So if you look under the valley, under the intake manifold, Gen 2 cylinder heads are more square. So they kind of come out and down at a very sharp angle. Whereas the Gen 1 are rounder. They're very round. So I've even seen one side have a Gen 2 cylinder head and one side have a Gen 1 cylinder head. Crazy shit. E-Force 2300 Gen 2 Coyote. What type of power would I get with a boosted pump and dwork? 95s on dworks. 95s on great 91 octane in Cali. Is it worth it? You're probably going to see high 500s with 91 octane. Honestly, you're not going to see into the 6s. I don't think the 2300 has a upgradable pulley system, but I think you can upgrade the cold air on it and keep the throttle body stock. And the car should make high 500s with that setup on 91 octane. Joe Jackson, what is your Fairmont weigh, Alex? 3,100 pounds. Sorry, I'm just reading. Peyton Pruitt says, 2019 Bullet, going with a Vortec V3 kit. ID 1050X's, boost the pump. If I stay on California 91 pump and 7.5 PSI, is it safe to beat it up to 7,800 RPM and daily without a return system? I think so, as long as you stay on pump gas. But you got to understand, if you got like junk ass 91 pump and 7.5 PSI is now kind of, I don't want to say high, but your motor is 12-to-1 compression now, not 11-to-1 like 15-to-17. So it's 12-to-1 compression, 91 octane, 7.5 PSI. It could, if you have bad quality 91, you're probably not even going to see 15 degrees of timing. Probably going to see 12 or 13. In terms of RPM, I think you can RPM it to death, but the fuel quality is going to determine everything. Now, these cars stop making power at about 7,500 RPM. The intake manifold tends to run, kind of run off up top. But a centrifugal setup might change that. Who knows? I haven't put one on mine yet. I've either been lazy or no time or both. So I think zinging it up to 7,800 RPM is not going to be an issue. It's just a matter of how much timing and how good the quality of the 91 is that's going to dictate if you're even making any power up there or not. Hey, Alex. Okay. Bullet 78. Hey, Alex, can I get your thoughts on a Pro Charger P1X and you fucking guys and your Pro Chargers. P1X and a Lund tune? P1X and a Lund tune. Wondering why you're not a big Pro Charger fan. Thanks for the education, man. Great show. The head unit is fine. I have no issue with the head unit. I have an issue with how the bracketry was. And I have no desire into messing around with a square, intercooler MAF curve. But my other tuner does it fine. That's fine. Good, cool story. They have a bracket system that I'm not a big fan of, and an intercooler. The MAF is in the intercooler, a square intercooler. That just makes it drivability awful. Luckily, they got some data, and they started putting, or they offer the MAF in the tube like they do on GT350s, and that is a way better setup. I just prefer other centrifugals. That's all. Relax. Christopher Molinaro. Oh, shit. This thing just flies. I got to slow down. Oh, dude, I lost you. I lost it, dude. Someone paid and it was gone. It's gone. Peyton Lucas says, would you ever consider changing Hush Money to a manual? Absolutely. If anything happens to Hush Money's transmission, anything, a hiccup, if it looks at me the wrong way, if it flares, it's getting a T56. Okay, so I want to make sure I didn't miss anyone's chat, so I'm going to scroll up. No, here we go. Gen 2, okay, we're good, we're good. Excellent. And I want to make sure I didn't miss anyone. Now we should be good. Excellent. So I'm going to scroll up and then kind of just grab questions randomly and go for. I guess the Chetch, Brandon, and Senior are answering questions talking about peasant fuel and pump gas. You got to understand, guys, whenever you guys say pump gas at the end of a sentence and power, we just kind of chuckle. We all kind of go, pump gas and power don't go hand in hand. And then I know what you're going to say, but I saw this guy on YouTube make 800 real horsepower on pump gas. Right. So are you willing to roll the dice? Ask yourself, are you willing to roll the dice? Are you willing to blow your shit up because you want to be on pump gas and make big power on pump gas? Oh, but I got a Torco mix. Okay, fine. So you got to keep spare spark plugs because your shit turns orange after a couple of tanks. And you got to like make sure that the mix is appropriate depending on how much boost you're shoving through the thing. So we prefer ethanol, obviously, if available. If it's not available, we prefer race gas. I'm talking big power stuff. When it comes to like 700 and under, I think pump gas can handle it. But anything above that, man, I'm not even looking at you with your pump gas bullshit. No, thank you. Matt Green, do you think it's necessary for me to data log my new motor and VFP Gen 3? Matt Green, if I'm not mistaken, I don't think you're tuned by us anymore, correct? Is that where we're at right now? Because I know we used to tune you, then it kind of went away because of stuff. But look, you got to send logs to make sure the car's healthy. Depending on who's tuning it. That's the other thing, depending on who's tuning it. I think if I click the money amount, the question pops up. Perfect. I'm getting the hang of this. Brent Odom says, I DM'd you about the K-member on Instagram. Here's your few bucks. I have a 16 GT with a Cobra Jet, long tubes, 47s and 85. Any way to cut weight without sacrificing interior. I have a drag pack, aluminum drive shaft, and a few suspension parts. Thanks. Well, the obvious stuff is going to be all your seats, right? Get a Kirky, get rid of all your seats, get rid of the sound deadening in the trunk, all the insulation and everything, get that out of there. The bumper support. So you can really cut a lot of weight if you get a bumper support, because I think UPR sells a bumper support that cuts like 10 pounds off the front. BPS sells a great radiator support, which is basically two little lightweight brackets that replaces the whole front. But if you're gonna get a K member, you should look into AA Performance, and you can get them from Tradition Motorsports. So AA Performance has a street kit and a race kit. So hit up Tradition Motorsports out of Tradition, Florida, and they'll be able to get you squared away. If not, look into Steeda's K-member. Steeda's K-member is baller as fuck. It looks beautiful. It looks very well made, and it's very light. So the S550, you have your options of AA K-member, street and race, and the Steeda K-member. I'm sure you can get some other Watson and stuff, but Watson looks like scaffolding to me. No offense, Watson. It just kind of looks like scaffolding. So I would rather go with a Steeda or AA in my opinion. David Zaremba asks, hey Alex, I have a 2018 Mustang GT PP1. It's on the 85, tuned by you. Roush intake, H5. I have $2,500 to spend. What should I concentrate on next? So if you don't have exhaust modifications, I would get a free flowing exhaust, but you got to look up your state's laws to make sure you're good to go. For whatever reason, headers make good power, but if you make it free flowing aside from headers, it makes good power too. So you can save yourself some money and go ahead and get a free flowing exhaust. I'm not going to tell you which way to go, but either way, you're good to go. Get yourself a set of sticky tires, maybe a drive shaft, and that'll take care of a couple of weak links. The axles are going to be the biggest money you're going to spend. So I know G-Force has a set of 800 horsepower axles. I think G-Force also has a set of like 1500 horsepower axles. In my opinion, you can make enough power on an E85 tune, free flowing exhaust, and a cold air to run well into the 11s, as long as you can launch the car, and the drive shaft and axles will help you achieve that. Sean Mote says, best way to make neck snapping, check cashing power in a 78 King Cobra. Psycho. You get rid of it. We were talking about that. Like, I know a lot of guys, a lot of people here are younger, but the 96 through 98 Mustang to me is like the Mustang 2. It's just such an ugly car. I mean, in 90, actually, I'll say 95, 94 to 98 Mustangs to me are the ugliest cars on the planet, Cobra included. I don't like how they look. I think they're ugly as shit. And to me, they are the Mustang 2 of that generation. But a lot of people seem to love those cars, and I don't get it. I guess I'm old. I don't get it. I went Fox body right to 05, and then I forgot about the 05 because it's the 3-valve, and went right to 11, and I kind of stuck from 11 and up. Maybe I'm a snob, but I still look at an old Mustang, 79 to 93, and I'm in love. I skipped like 94 to like 90. I skipped 94 all the way up to 99. The 99 and up Mustangs look pretty good. I like the S351. I think the last year of the S351 was 1999. If I could ever get my hands on a 99 S351, that'd be pretty sick. But I don't like those cars at all. Talking about Mustang 2s. JF says, yo, oh shit, I gotta find you. Holy shit, holy shit, holy shit. A90. I guess someone's referencing Fox body computers. That's great. So Sean Mote, already got him. And ROG says, Alex, what do you think about long tubes with dumps right after the collector besides being loud, worth it? No, ROG, I think you still have to put an X pipe on it. So I'm a big fan of putting an X pipe on it, then dumping it. Because I still think you have to kind of equalize the exhaust flow. It'll sound weird, like header right to a dump. It's gonna sound weird. It's not gonna perform that great. I think it'll perform better if you had an X pipe, then dump it, then dumping it right after the collector. Who actually, Stephen Daly says, who actually makes Ford's axles? I don't know. That's a good question. I know G-Force uses Ford axles, or G-Force makes Ford like upgraded axles. 96 to 98, worst motor ever. Absolutely, dude. 215 horsepower. Straight muff cabbage. ULV here says, scroll up, you missed my paid question. You love here. Okay, let's find you. David, Brent Odom. Did I get you? Yep, I got him. Brent. You love you here. You said a paid question, so let me look. Nope, Peyton Pruitt. Isaac, Davian. Oh, here you go. Do you got any more of those lawnmower tunes? I scrolled up for that shit. What a waste of fucking time. I'm not sure I want to keep reading the chat. LOL green. I guess there's something else going on, so it's all good. Okay, thank you, Root Beer. Root Beer, I should have just kept listening, and Root Beer got me covered. He saw what was going on. Very nice. Alex, what do you think of an 89 Mustang with a 351 Windsor 80 Eddie? Does it have a carburetor on it? Does it have a Rochester, or do you have a Edelbrock carburetor on it? If you can get I know that you can get like a Lightning 351 because it had a roller cam set up back in the day. So a Lightning 351 with like a GT40 upper and lower, like a built 351. Oh, hell yeah. I mean, awesome shit. But it's rare, expensive, not really doable. It's kind of one of those things where people are just kind of throwing, AFR heads or twisted wedge heads on little Fox bodies with a, Edelbrock upper and lower or a trick flow upper and lower and 100 shot and running, well into the 10s, chilling. So a 351 was more like hey, I got a 351, and then you still get your ass gapped by a little 306 with, some GT40 heads. So I think it's cool, I think it's cool. Like if you get a 408 stroker, that's real cool. Tons of torque there, but I don't think it's that cool, more so than like a little 302. Okay, so Joe Daniel says, I love these Tuesday chats. Plan for the 4th, slaying some hoes, best drag radials you've ever seen. I'm not slaying any hoes. The 4th, I think it's a Thursday, so I'm just gonna probably work on the Mustang. That's kind of my life right now, really. My life is very, very easy by design. I don't have any drama, any girls kind of causing drama. The people that are around me are good people. So I'm probably just gonna chill out, probably go to Christian's Christian invited me over, and I'm from the Northeast, so I'm like super antisocial. I'm like, if you invite me somewhere, I go, I don't think I want to go. Or I say I'm going to go, and then I just don't go. That's what we do. Best drag radials I've seen. The DOT, the Mickey Thompson DOT, the Pro, badass. It's just a badass. Now, there's also a radial slick, which is called like a Pro bracket radial. And that one is good. It's got like a stiff wall with like a slick, compound. And that one is really good, but it's not class legal for a lot of classes. Root beer, Alex. To find people's questions, hit Control F and search for their name. I'm not going to do that. Fuck all that. Because I'm sure I'll hit enter and leave the chat. Fuck all that. But thank you, Root Beer. I'll try it. Max horsepower, GT500 horse, 2008 GT500. Max horsepower a motor can handle. About 850, Mr. Beck. That's why I don't understand why people are so high up on the Gen 3. The Gen 3 is a great blower, awesome blower, if you build your motor. It doesn't make sense to me to buy a $4,000 blower and spin the rotor slower and make less torque than you would with a 2.3. But some people want the latest and greatest, and I get that. And they want to set themselves up for the future and buy the blower once. But I literally have seen people go Trinity to Gen 2 to Gen 2R to Gen 3 to Gen 3R. I'm like, you probably have $30,000 in blowers right there, or $12,000. Carlos Figueroa says, does tuning a no-tune required parts like a throttle body or an air intake beneficial to the same as tuning the stock parts? Why would you tune something that's no tune required? You know what I mean? If it's no tune required, what are we going to tune? Like a no tune required PMAS has a sensor that's already calibrated and you don't have to do anything. So what tuning would I do on a no tune required part? Tell me what tuning would I have to do. I think certain things are beneficial. Cold airs are debatable. Throttle bodies on a naturally aspirated setup, absolutely not. I think you stay with the stock throttle body and you're fine. John Lund says, G-Force must have a set of 7.67 axles, 767 axles. Yeah, basically is what the Blue Goose runs, G-Force axles, G-Force rear end. Liam McDonald says, full bolt-on, 93 octane, make 450? He has a 2015 GT Performance Pack. He wants to keep it simple, daily driver, but the best way to make reliable power. No, I wouldn't really chase. You probably can make 450 on 93 octane. You probably could if it's like a CJ setup. But, and if you had cams. But man, that's a lot to just run 93. Why not? Why not look into E85? I get it. You don't have E85 in your area and it's difficult, and I get that. But it's going to be really tough to make 450 rear-wheel horsepower on a Gen 2 motor with all that stuff and have it be not knock prone. I can't shove timing in it because of the fact that it's just not going to allow me to. It's just going to say, nah, we're good, bro. We're good, fam. We're just going to just chill out here. So just dropped the phone and my charger in a bucket of oil. Just dropped my phone charger in a bucket of oil. Good job. Blue Goose versus the Snot Rocket. Who wins? The Snot Rocket. That thing's a 730 car. We ain't got shit for him right now. No way. Brett LaSalle's car's flying. Root Beer asks, John Lund, do you plan to offer tuning classes? Absolutely not. Absolutely. Oh yeah, and by the way, the tire size on Blue Goose's run was 305 45 17. Nothing special on a 17 by 10 inch rim. Go on Daddy 809 says, do rods and pistons in a Gen 1 or swap Gen 3? Stop with the Gen 3 short block and a Gen 1, goddammit. Because I have no idea if the cylinder heads are going to fit the short block and what gasket do you use. I have no idea. Gen 2 fucking 2, Gen 2 on a Gen 1 car will fit just fine. So Gen 2 short block, Gen 2, use your Gen 1 heads and you're good. I don't know if a Gen 3 short block can accept Gen 1 cylinder heads and have the gaskets made up to all the bullshit that's happening. You'd have to ask an engine builder. You'd have to ask someone like L&M. But honestly, get a Gen 2 if you can find one. John Lund says, not tuning classes. Not only no, but hell no. Bye. Exactly. We're not going to offer tuning classes. No, come on, crazy. Jonathan Setzer says, Alex, how did you first learn to tune vehicles? I'll be honest with you. The first time I ever tuned a vehicle was my 2011 Mustang, and John Lunn is online, so I can't really tell the story as to what all happened in my first 3 months of becoming a tuner. But I just literally had to force myself to flash the car. I had no idea even how to export a file, but I knew the basics of it. I had a base file. I wanted to throw it in there and adjust it. And the hard part was, how do I flash this car? I have no idea how to flash this car. If I flash the car, will I brick it? And when I flashed the car, probably the stupidest way of flashing a car, I was in Orlando at my brother's house. And I was like, fuck it. Let me just try to flash this tune. And I flashed the tune and I was like, oh shit. Data logged it, saw that it was a little rich because of the cold air that it had, and adjusted that. And on the way back from Orlando, which is a 2.5-hour drive, I adjusted the car like every 20 miles. I was so geeked. I was so excited. Then Jeff Betts became the first guy I ever tuned. Why? Because he had a 12 Mustang, same basic bitch tune I had, set it his way, and I think it ended up making like 680 wheel, and I was just thrilled beyond belief. And then naturally aspirated setups became easy. The hard part about tuning is what to do when there's a problem. That's the hard part about tuning. But if the tunes are good and the install is good and the car has a vetted combo, the way the Lund configures your files makes life easy. But that's the first car I ever tuned, was my car, and it was nerve-wracking, trust me. Martin 50 says, Alex, I don't get E85 in Connecticut. How much time would you allow for good 93 DP M1 meth? On an 11 to 17 car, we can allow like 29 degrees, maybe 30 degrees. That's not saying we're going to shove in 30 degrees. We can allow the car to see 30 degrees. And if the car is happy, it'll see that. If it's not that happy, it won't. T. Heltzler says, thank you for all of the info. What is typical horsepower gain on a good catback 2019 with a manual transmission, CIA, cold intake air, and a 93 tune? So you're not going to see any horsepower gain with a catback, like at all. I think the stock catback is actually pretty good. You'll probably see 3 horse, maybe. But look, dyno comparisons can vary 3 horse, so it's kind of hard to measure that. But I wouldn't really look at a catback for power. A tune on 93 octane is not going to see that much more in terms of horsepower and performance. On a manual transmission car, what you'll see in performance is the extended rev range, the allowing the spark to come in a little sooner, but peak for peak, you're not going to see that much of a gain. Maybe you'll see 20, maybe with a cold air intake on a cold day with the hood up on a dyno. But at the end of the day, a 93 tune is not going to see on its own many gains. The extended rev range, the timing coming in sooner, that will allow the car to perform better as opposed to more power. Now, if you had E85, sky's the limit. I shove all the spark down its throat, let it eat it and see what it does. But on 93 octane, because 93 isn't 93 across the board, 93 can vary so much. I've seen absolute junk 93 in Oklahoma, and I've seen the sweetest 93 on the planet in North Carolina. It can just vary so much. Beards and Cars says, I know I can email you, but I'm showing support here also. Should I do a dual fan triple pass heat exchanger to drop them IATs from 130s? Absolutely. Every GT500 owner on the planet that has a TVS in their car, 07 to 13 to 14. If you have a TVS in your car, get a triple pass dual fan heat exchanger from AFCO or VMP, period. Wise Guys Are Us says, I have a 1993 V6. Come on, man. I have a 93 V6. I put chrome 21-inch Civic rims and plasti dip by muffler tip. I noticed huge gains from regular glass and plasti dip. This thing moves. He paid $5 to say that. So I'm going to read it. Daniel Beer says 15 to 17 or 19 base model, which is a better bang for your buck? 15 to 17. I know 19 is badass. Trust me, especially guys with 10 or 80, they're just badass. But I wouldn't do a base model 19. I'd try to find a performance pack 19 because it has a 373s. The base model 19 fits a manual. It's gonna have 355s. But if it's a 10 or 80, if you're comparing auto for auto, I would do a 19. If it's manual, I would do a 15 to 17. Look at John Lund telling Eric to email him directly. Look at you. Project 6 says Joe Rogan or Howard Stern. I think they're kind of both of the same ilk. Like Howard Stern, obviously, I used to listen to him growing up. Joe Rogan is more of like if you're like 24 to like 38, you listen to Joe Rogan because you think he's cool and he smokes pot and it's all good. I think they're both the same. I think there's a lot that Joe Rogan learned from Howard Stern, but Howard Stern is kind of the OG when it comes to all that shit. But Howard Stern kind of lost me when he started like, I used to love him when he made fun of celebrities. Made fun of celebrities. He was kind of the outsider, but now he's an insider, which is not a bad thing. He just lost me at that point. 80 Eddie says, making a 302 Fox Mustang fast at Alex, making a 302 Fox Mustang fast. So it's not that hard. I mean, the old school combinations are out there. Trick flow heads, B cam, F cam, alphabet cam, or a trick flow stage 1 top end kit. You get a trick flow stage 1 top end kit on a 306 or stock 302 if it's still together. A 65 millimeter throttle body. If you have mass air, if you're not converted to mass air, get a nice little tune for it. I think it'll make 300 something wheel, no problem. And if you can get that sucker to bite with a set of like 410s or 373s at the track, it'll be like a way into the 11-second range. I had a Fox Mustang that had stock heads, stock bottom end, had a air gap intake, 650 Holly, MSD, 430 gears and a Tremec, and it was an 1170, 1160 car all fucking day on pump gas. Chadwick Weatherspoon says, Alex, you was correct. IAT, high, closing throttle, icebox, meth. Okay, Chadwick, I think you're talking about maybe your F-150, your Roush F-150 truck. Meth is going to help that. Meth is definitely going to help your IAT. Obviously, you don't want to drown the car in meth, but if you just use it for cooling, it'll definitely help with that. So, but the problem is if you have that front feed Roush, it's going to be difficult to keep that sucker cool because it's just not going to be happy. They really, really leave a lot to be desired on the intercooler design. Sabino Guzman says, watching your project made me buy an Ettlebrock Stage 2 a week ago. Getting it done right now in an 18. Badass, Sabino. I don't know if I'm going to get a Ettlebrock for my 19. Steve Gels has a kit on his car and it fit like a glove. Mikey did a great job down at Power by the Hour, but the Vortec is something that I'm intrigued by and I'd like to try out. It's just honestly time. I literally have to rent out another bay here and do it myself because I just don't want to bother other people with the install. So I might just have to just do it myself and see how that goes. The hardest thing I'm having trouble with is the return oil feed line for the Vortec. The Vortec is an older unit, not a self-contained unit. So obviously that would make my life a lot easier. But at the end of the day, I have to run the return line and the oil pan is plastic. So I'd have to drop the K-member, drop the oil pan, put a bulkhead fitting in there. I'm just like, oh my fucking God. Why are you mad? Says the Camaro's going out of production. No, I mean, you guys knew that shit was going to happen, right? Like nobody's buying Camaros. The only one that is a badass ride is the ZL1, ZL1 1LE. That is a bad motherfucker. But no one's buying that in droves because guess where you make your sales? You make your sales on the junk shit like the EcoBoost Mustang, the rental, the fleets, the GTs, all that dumb shit. And the Camaro it's just ugly motherfucker, especially with their new design. They like fucking look like someone gave it an uppercut to the nose and it just looks weird. Fox body Mustang fast. John Lund. John Lund had a quick Fox body single turbo Calypso green, if I'm not mistaken, John Lund. It was a Calypso green. It was a nice little car. I think he sold it a couple of years ago, and I think you could tell he was a little kind of like sad about it because he talks about it. And then his Maverick, I have his Maverick, and I think he was emotional about the Maverick too because he's had it since his days in Oklahoma, had good memories in it. But I'm going to try to, keep it around and see what I can do with it after my 10,000 other projects. The Fairmont, though, is very close. What we have to do on the Fairmont is wire in the car to start, just like a key on and a button or whatever to start. I don't want it to start on the column because that's just going to take forever. And I got to make sure that the belt routing is proper. The belt routing is kind of being a little funky. I got to do the fan, intercooler, pump, and that's it. Then that car is done at Power by the Hour. I can take it, get an exhaust put in it. I can get the alignment done, and I can do the suspension, take it to Harvey to get the subframes done and do some street logging, get it on the dyno, and maybe hit the track one of these days. Okay, so Calypso green was a sweet color. Okay, you guys are just talking amongst yourselves. Greg Old Land says 15 manual GT200 shot of nitrous with a direct port kit and a maximizer 5 progressive controller. Can a Gen 2 hold it with all the supporting mods on top? Now, Greg, that is a nice setup. I prefer a direct port shot because the possibility of it puddling are less, right? That's my biggest issue with that, basically, is if it's a plate kit and you're shoving all that nitrous in the front, it becomes a bit of a problem. So I prefer that a direct port system is installed. But the problem is a direct port system hits hard as fuck. I'm saying hard. So we're gonna have to monitor, the knock sensors, make sure they're happy. We're just gonna have to make sure that shit don't go down. Direct port is a completely different animal and a lot more aggressive. So we have to just kind of, okay, let's sneak up on this, and maybe because you have control of it being progressive will help that. Okay, Carlos Villarreal is talking about another tuner. Good. Vortec is free. He says Vortec is free. I don't know what that means. John, you talking to me? Vortec is free? Austin Walters says, Alex, local gas station here has E85 testing at 100%. Jesus. Yeah, the fuel system might not be okay. I mean, that's like 15%, more that you're going to stress out the fuel system. So I'd log it, honestly, Austin. If you can put it in and log it for us, if you already have a tune by us, log it, and we'll see how lean it is and how the fuel system is keeping up. And we can then tell you, hey, man, shit's fucked. Or, hey, we gotta bump up your fuel system, injectors or booster pump or something like that. That is a bad 100%. What the hell? Ford Racing 312 says, hey, Alex, for a 15 Mustang GT Auto, do you think a Steeda air intake catback system and Lund 93 tune and the rear seats and passenger seat out would run 11s at all? Might get a flex tune soon. It'll be close, depending on if it's a base model or not. My 15 is a fully loaded model. I'm gonna gut the seats tomorrow, and I'm gonna take it to the track on the 85 with a stock cold air and a GT250 intake manifold. Hopefully, if I can find a set of sticky tires, and see what the car runs. And it's been a 12.3, but it has been 92 to 95 every day down here. So I don't think I'm going to be able to get there. But if you get yourself a nice cool day, at the end of the day, I think you should be close to the 11-second range, depending on the weight of the car. Motive 540 says, any updates on my buddy's 5.8 4-liter Whipple Fox Lund's remote tuning? I don't know who he's talking about. Honestly, maybe Lund will chime in. Vinny's Customs, you're tuning my car with a CJ Pro charger and a converter. I live about 3 hours away from PBH, having drivability problems. We should set a day to meet up and tune it at PBH. No, Vinny, I don't tune cars in person. There is no mechanism for that. You have to send logs in, and do it that way, because I do not tune cars in person. Now, Power by the Hour might be able to take the car in and charge you to do that, but I cannot get in the car physically and tune it for you. I tune out of the comfort of my own home. Why isn't anybody asking about the McLeod 6-speed trans? No one knows what you're talking about. Opinion on Ken Bell, Nico. Ken Bell's fine, make power. 2.8s on GT500s can make 700 pretty easily. Their 3.6s and 4.2s are pretty badass. Sorry. I know, toaster oven, I get it. But they run well when they're given the proper supporting mods. Let's just say that. Because we have to be a little diplomatic here. The Czech, understand that. Yeah, exactly. Quarter-mile data log with traction is worth 100 dyno pulls. Exactly. He lives near an ethanol plant. Austin Walters. Wow, that's pretty. But I can't imagine that they deliver it directly to it. Do they straight pipe it from the ethanol from the refinery right to the gas station? That's pretty badass. Alex explained this to me before. Rupier says, Alex explained this to me before. Yeah, the T56 is better, but then you're now buying a new clutch, new drive shaft versus a Calumet built MT82. Correct. The T56 is better, but you will save a lot of money. With the Ben Calumet built Stage 3, you can just buy it, put it in with your existing stuff, existing shifter, everything. You're good to go. John Lund says, Vortec is free. Get it done. I know. Time. You gotta understand time. I don't have the time or the means or the facilities to do this. I can't just go to Power by the Hour. all of their bays are full of cars. Every single bay is full of cars. And I'd have to drop the white car off, start working on it, and then Uber home and take the red car home. And it'll take me like a week to get it done. I'll get it done. Don't you worry. We'll get you data. Corsa Extremes and Corsa headers. My 12 is obnoxious. Yeah, I don't know why people buy Corsa Extremes at all. The sports are loud enough, especially when you go catless. TMS Production says, what's up, Alex? Had my 2005 Mustang lung tune 2 years ago. Super happy. Ran a best of 10.7 at 134. Badass. A 3-valve getting it done. Nice. What's the latest on the clean white S197 that PVH had a few vids ago? It's on the dyno right now, and what I'm waiting on is for Christian to get off of his lazy ass and do a wide open throttle pull. It recently got a K-member upgrade. It's gone 880s with a VMP Gen 3 and a 4R200. It now got a K-member put into it, and the MFP front drive and the front crank support. It got that because it was having belt walking issues, belt snapping issues, so now it's got a 10-rib upgrade with the MFP stuff. My old system, I sold it to him, and gonna go and rep it. So I'm hoping he gets it on the dyno soon and we can get some video on it. The chat says, if you're in Pennsylvania, Sunoco is the best. Luis Figueroa says, any benefits of tuning a stock Gen 2 auto, no cold air intake, 355 gear, only catback boiler? Yes, a tune will wake it right up. You gotta understand the tune will extend the rev range. On an automatic, we have probably the best automatic calibration on the planet when it comes to these cars. So you will gain a lot from it. Trust me. ROG, will John Lunn's GT500 Gen 3R ever run at the track? He's getting a rear end built for it. And I think once we get a set of slicks on it, we're going to shoot for an 8-second pass because the car has the power to go 8. So if it goes 8 on blower only, that'll be a huge accomplishment. The auto blip car was sweet. Yeah, that was a 2015 auto Whipple car, manual Whipple car, and he had auto blip on it. It was super cool. It only activates when you hit the brake. So when you hit the brake and clutch in, the car upshifts or blips the throttle for a downshift. I thought it was really cool. Mark says, stupid question. Should I email you to have you revise my tune? Just found out my 18 had a leaky valve cover gasket when you tuned it. It's fixed now. I don't think a leaky valve cover gasket is gonna cause a tune issue, but I'm more than happy to take a look at a log. Just make sure that in the email you say, hey, I'm the guy with the leaky head gasket, so I need a revision for a non-leaky head gasket. Someone says, damn man, Lee Iacocca passed away today. Yeah, man, the K-car man himself passed away. Terrible. Shell 91 is better than Kroger 93. Who knows? Someone said, am I going to go to Homeboy's GT500 delivery party? Yeah, no. I think we're going to get our own, and we're going to tune our own. I'm not looking for the clickbait bullshit. I'm just here to give you guys information and calibration help and, setup help. I don't give a fuck about a party. Hey, look at my car. That's fucking retarded. You know when I'll have a party? When Lund Racing buys theirs, I'll go up and I'll drive the motherfucker. Someone's saying that, or you get deported. Oh, that's his name, Coyote Swap, or you get deported. What a great name, Coyote Swap, or you get deported. Badass shit. Tyler Hewerman says, hey, Alex, is it possible to control a 2010 F-150 5.4 6R80? Oh, my God. Edelbrock E-Force with a Coyote computer as London with a Terminator? Or should I just sell the piece of shit? Just sell the piece of shit. Love you. Just sell the piece of shit, because at the end of the day, to make it run on a Coyote computer, you're going to have to do a lot of work to it, a lot. And I don't think it's worth it, quote unquote, on that vehicle. If you have emotional, attachments to the vehicle, that's one thing. But at the end of the day, it's not worth it. It's not worth it. It's 3-valve or a 2-valve. I don't know which version of the 5.4 do you have. Rest in peace, K-Car Man. Exactly. Lee Iacocca, the Mustang guy. What was the setup on the tax collector again? Stephen Daly. Look at you. What a crazy reference. The tax collector. So the tax collector is a grudge car. It's a blue 14 GT500 D-striped. Has a built engine, badass cams, Whipple 4-liter, Kenny Bell throttle body, ID 1700s, runs on C85 and a turbo 400 transmission. It has been rumored to have run in the 7-second zone. Rumored. New Mustang or used GT350? Used GT350 all fucking day. Why? Because it's a Shelby, and it might get some play based on that. A boosted GT350 is a bad motherfucker. A boosted GT350 with a T56 transmission is the baddest freaking thing on the planet. T56 boost, 10 psi. Holy fucking shit! The brakes, the handling, the sound, can't beat it. Cole Gosler says, so you're saying a built MT82 is better in a manual 95 GT over a T5 with a shorter fifth gear or a T56 swap? I can never bank third gear. Fifth gear is barely useful on the highway. MT82 in a 95 GT? I hope you're talking about there's a Coyote in there. The blue GT500 is amazing. That car is a bad motherfucker. If you guys look on my channel, there is a whole rundown of that vehicle, and it does a bunch of cameos here and there. It's a grudge car, so I can't really say what it runs all the time. But that car is probably the quickest factory computer GT500 on the planet. Tuned by Lund. Mustang Week, no, no, we're not going to go to Mustang Week. Mustang Week is not something that we can showcase anything in, because Mustang Week it should be sponsored by Corsa, because it's just going to be a rev contest, dyno competition, burnout, dumb shit, crashes, crowd getting fucked. I mean, it's just, no. I went and it was cool to meet up with people, but I don't, it's so weird to me to be like, hey, you going to go to the Hard Rock meet? Hey, you going to go to the Arby's meet? It's like, no. Stay my ass home. Artie Rodriguez says, Alex, what's the difference between the GT350 manual trans versus the T56, and why do you reference it? The GT350 trans sucks cocks dicks, and I think it's garbage. And at high RPMs, it doesn't like to go in a gear. It's a piece of shit. It's weak. It's got smaller gears than the MT82. It sucks. A T56 in a GT350, so that it is a stout transmission. You can put a set of 373s or 410s in the back and 10 PSI. You will not want to drive any other car. The car sounds amazing. It pulls like a freight train. Trans ain't gonna blow up. It stops and turns on a dime. That to me is the perfect car. That I would trade most of my cars for a boosted GT350 with a T56. Random someone says, okay, ask same question 5 times, no answer. Fleece out. Okay. Random someone. Okay, random someone. Let's see. Let me look you up. Did he say control? Random someone. Better a leaky valve cover gasket than a leaky beef gasket? Maybe he's talking about someone else. I scrolled up looking for your questions, but they went there. Rami Zaidan in the house. I've referenced him a bunch of times in my last videos. He's now working on check this out. He's working on an 07 GT500 with a auto swap twin turbo. Badass. I'm not tuning that shit. Let Junior have that. He might need me to, translate. No offense. Random someone. That wasn't my question. Then ask it again, motherfucker. Oh, shit. Hard Parker Beach Week. Yeah, Mustang Week is very cool, but I equate it to Bike Week. Blah, 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 blah. Look at me. Blah, 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 blah. And it's the same. It's like, look at me. Slam the limiter. And you know how many requests we get for people to say, hey, how come I can't rev my car in neutral to 9,000 RPMs? I'm like, why would you want to? They're like, to show out, bro. Okay. Random someone says, my question was 17 F-150 nitrous, how much wet, dry? 150 shot, wet. No more. No more. How much Coyote swap or get deported asks. What a great name. How much can a Gen 1 Coyote handle? I've seen them make into the 700 range, but I wouldn't live at 700. I would live in the high 6s, low 700s, and be okay. But anything above that, dude, at any moment, them rods can go. Carlos Arroyo saying Puerto Rico in the house. Puerto Rico in the house. Very nice. Mark, random someone asked about nitrous on his F-150, wet or dry. Okay, thanks for having his back. Jeremy Huglin. 2019 GT350R. How do I make more power? 2. A tune. Get a tune from us, a cold air, and then go ahead and get yourself some E85, and that motherfucker is going to make a good chunk of power. 47-pound injector, rear wheel horsepower max. It's more about RPM, okay, John and Cheryl Coughlin. It's more about RPM, but again, Roush RS3s have a 47-pound injector and a booster pump, and they can make 620 wheel. But at about 7,000 RPM, you can't wring it out. You will run out of fuel, I guarantee it. Manny Hernandez says, hey, Alex, I'm planning to modify my 18 Mustang. Whipple, 132 throttle body, 1050Xs, PMAS, AR8, American Racing long tube headers, 4 Innovations, 1 LE system, switching between 93 and 85. Any suggestions? Will the car last with this setup? Sure. 3875 is going to be, what, 11 pounds of boost or 10 pounds of boost, I think. The Lunds will know better on the pulley sizes. But 3875 on E85, it'll be fine. On 93, you'll probably be close. It all depends on the quality of 93 in your area. But that's literally what we have in the black beam. We've had that set up in there for a long time. Hasn't been an issue. Okay, it's getting close to that time for me to duck out. So I'm going to just try to answer a couple of scragglers here and there, and then get my ass out of here, go to sleep, wake up tomorrow, see if I can work on that, make a game plan for the white 18 and get the Vortec in there. Mark says, Alex, Edelbrock question, 18 Mustang with the leaky valve cover. You said before, go to the stage 1 Edelbrock and stay there. The 8 rib, not worth it, jump into stage 2? No, because I think stage 2 is for like max effort. If you're gonna go stage 2, it's basically a lower and an 8 rib drive. I think stage 1 at 8 to 10 PSI is more than enough than you'll ever need on that setup. Stage 2, in my opinion, to me, is when you really want to go max effort on the 85. Stay with the stage 1 and be happy. Stephen Daly asks, 17 GT performance package, 2 with a 700 plus horsepower and pump, need to go 85. What level 4 system should I get, and should I upgrade to the colder plugs? Currently on Roush stage 2 plugs. Roush stage 2 plugs, I think, are stock plugs, just regapped. So yeah, get a set of Brisk 14 YSs or NGK 6510s and level 2 for Innovations fuel system. JF says, I've asked the same question 100 times. Damn, Alex. Ask it again, motherfucker. Okay? Don't say you've asked the same question again. Ask it again. Jesus. People don't get it. Someone asks, JMS launch max or 2 relay trans brake for a 14 6R80 car? I would get a 2 relay trans brake. I am not a big fan of digital trans brakes at all, period. Greg Odlin, can you use direct port nitrous kits with plastic manifolds like a Boss 302 or CJ setup? I know you have to screw in the nozzle, maybe Loctite thread with it. What do you think? Yeah, I've seen people make it, use it no problem. But I think they sell plates that have like more of a direct port in there. I think some companies down in Florida have like a certain kit, or Nitrous Express. Those are the people, Nitrous Express, or what are the other ones? It's like a black bottle. I forget. But, just the companies are going to have setups for you, and they'll answer those questions better because they probably do it for a living. I definitely don't. 150 wet shot, pretty safe on a Gen 1 Coyote. It's safe-ish. I prefer you be on the 85 to have plenty of octane. Swap the red car for a 2-valve Bicho. Get the fuck out of here. 2-valve? Psycho. Hey, Alex, is water wet? Nitrous outlet. Thank you, Diddy LX50 or 50, Diddy LX50. Nitrous outlet. They're good people. Met them at PRI. They probably have a direct port set up that'll you ship them your manifold and they just do it. It's awesome shit. I thought about it. Trust me, especially on the red car, because I don't care about that motor. If that thing explodes, I don't care. Is a 4C converter too high for a turbo? Yes. I think a 2B is plenty for a turbo. Or a 252 converter from Jerkle D. Circumstances where leaving in second gear with a 6R80 is advantages. Big horsepower turbo cars and a trans brake, second gear leave seems to help pretty well. Like big horsepower, 1100, 1000 and up. Root beer, should I fake my orgasms? Well, it all depends if you got to get out of there. You got to meet certain situations, right? If you're pounding away but nothing's happening, and it happens to most of us, maybe you jerked off that morning, whatever, or that afternoon, or before she came over so that you wouldn't nut real quick. Yeah, if you're wearing the rubber, just go, oh, and be out of there, be done. See, I give life advice too. Okay, I'm gonna call it, guys. I appreciate you guys joining in. I had up to 440 people watching today. That's very nice. I'm gonna try to promote it a little better because I'm kind of slacking on the whole promotional thing. But hopefully you guys will tune in next week. We're gonna do the same thing every week, Tuesday, 8:30, talking shit. Thank you for tuning in on episode 5. Tune in episode 6. Keep an eye on the channel. I'll probably be releasing some videos this week on the white S197 from Power by the Hour and the red car at the track. Talk to you guys later.